How you know you're getting closer to inner union on your twin flame journey. Now, I can't speak about outer union, but I can only speak about how I know that I'm getting closer to inner union. Now, when you're getting closer to inner union on your journey, you'll start to think less and less about your counterpart. You'll start to think less and less about how that person hurt you. You'll start to think less and less about how you want that person back. You'll start to understand that this journey is not romantic. You'll start to understand that this journey is not about the other person. You'll start to realize that this journey is a solely healing journey focused directly on you, your inner healing, your inner health, your inner well-being. This is all about you. So once you get to a point where you understand what the universe did, you understand what God did for you, you understand that the twin flame dynamic before you got to separation was not in alignment with God, with what you were supposed to do. Women are not supposed to be the giver. Women are receivers. So a lot of people that's coming from a twin flame relationship and a twin flame separation, if you look back and realize a lot of us was the givers. We were giving divine feminists were giving because we were so wounded and so broken from childhood that we just wanted to nurture the brokenness inside our counterparts. So we gave and gave and gave until one day we couldn't give anymore. And once you look back and realize that that's not how the dynamic's supposed to be. The dynamic's supposed to be flipped. The dynamic's supposed to be the woman be the receiver and the man be the giver. Whether it be of energy, whether it be of finances, whether it be of time and attention and all those things. Being an over-nurturer is not a good thing. So you should not be looking back at your relationship saying, well, I gave him everything. That is the problem. You gave him everything. As a woman, as a divine feminine, you are not supposed to come off your center for anything or anyone. It's all about your nervous system. If you look at the dynamic before separation, before you had your awakening, and before when you just thought you was in love and you thought that you just found the one and you just knew that this relationship was special, you would do anything and everything to keep this relationship. A lot of these relationships, the counterpart was getting out of a relationship, kind of still in one, or just got out of one, and also you, a lot of the divine feminines were getting out of a relationship, or they were already in one when you met your counterpart. So you got to already understand that you was in a broken space when you met this person. Divine feminine can be a man or a woman, but a lot of divine feminines are women. So that's why I kind of like to target and talk to the women audience. But divine feminine is not specific to gender. Divine feminine can be to a man also. It depends on what type of energy that you hold more inside of you. I just know that my makeup was, I was the divine feminine. Well, I am the divine feminine. And my counterpart is the divine masculine. Now, when I say counterpart, that means the other individual that I was in a relationship with. I'm not saying that I need him for the growth of my spirituality, but he was the one who sparked the flame. Hence, twin flame. He was the one who sparked the flame to my spiritual healing. Now, in the beginning of the dynamic before separation, pre-separation, before I even knew that I was going through some type of twin flame journey, even though I heard it time and time again, I still didn't believe it. I thought it was just a regular relationship. I knew this one was a little bit different, not because I loved him more, but I was more trauma bonded to this situation than I was another situation. And yes, this relationship was a little bit more better than my last. I mean, he treated me better, showed me more affection. Everything was a little bit more better than my last relationship. But now I'm learning that if you're just getting out of a relationship with a karmic partner, or just getting out of a relationship or a marriage before you met your divine counterpart, they carry a lot of characteristics as the last relationship. It does not mean that this person is better energetically because you didn't have time to heal. A lot of us jumped out of one relationship into another. And then it's the same thing with the divine masculine. He jumped out of one relationship into one with you. That does not mean that you are any different from the divine karmic partner or the karmic partner that he was with, because I know a lot of men will tell you stories about, oh, she did this or she did that, and I'm glad that you're not like her. Technically, energetically, at the core, you are, because that's their type. They are drawn to women who are givers. And we are drawn to men who are receivers, which is not the right makeup dynamic. Got to flip it around. Flip it around, flip it around. So how you flip it around if you're going through twin flame separation? After you go through all your integration, all your pain, all your crying, all your begging, all your pleading, all your bargaining, and you realize that none of this is working, which is not designed to work. It's designed to tire you out so you can allow the universe to do its job. You cannot bring your counterpart back with crying, begging, pleading. That actually pushes them away. Because think about it. If this person is a divine mirror, or this energy, I'm going to talk about the energy. If this energy is a divine mirror of you, you're crying for yourself. You're begging for yourself to come back. You are already here. You're already whole and complete as you are on this journey. You do not need your counterpart to make you whole and complete. And I'm not just saying this because I'm like bashing men. I would never do that because I'm a woman. Of course, you know, men are needed in our society, but a lot of women lose focus when they're on this journey. Even when you're going through a breakup, you have to focus on what inside of me is making me drawn to this person. What inside of me will not allow me to let go. What inside of me is pushing this energy away from me. This energy is running from you. You're chasing it. As a divine feminine, you chase nothing. You chase nothing. You don't chase money. You don't chase love. You don't chase attention, affection, time, a job. You don't chase anything. The job of the divine feminine is to come back to her center. Come back to her core center of who she is. Because if you do not learn the dynamic of being centered within yourself, you are just going to attract another situation, another partner with the same characteristics of the last one. In the beginning, it may look different. He may seem a little bit more sweet and charming than the first, but he still carries your core wounds of brokenness. So you didn't get anywhere. You attracted the same energy in a different person. How you not do that is you need to take some time to yourself and reflect on what is it about your energy, your core wounding that's attracting these type of men, that attracted your divine counterpart, that attracted your last relationship or your relationship before that. Because all these relationships have the same core wounding. Now, the thing about your twin flame is that person have the exact makeup as your core wounding. That first person or your second person or your ex-husband or your ex-boyfriend or your, you know, previous karmic relationships may have some makeup of your core wounding, but your twin flame is actually the exact makeup of your core wounding. Now, the characteristics may be different. They may be an avoidant and you may be an anxious attachment on the surface. But that does not mean at the core that you both aren't wounded individuals. Now, when you hear the words wounded, an empathetic woman, empathetic divine feminine thinks, wounded, healing, I can help. You cannot help this person heal or grow on the physical plane. Women do not lead on the physical plane. That's the man. Divine feminines lead on the spiritual plane. And how you lead on the spiritual plane is cease and desist all contact. That's just the beginning. That has nothing to do with the end. Because you can cease and desist all contact, but energetically, you still chasing that person. So the first thing you can do for your peace of mind is cease and desist the running in the physical plane. Of course, we already, you know, got that down pat. A lot of women, if you made it to this video, you're not doing the calling, the chasing. Physically, you're not driving by his house and none of that. That's a good thing. That's pat yourself on the back if you stop that, because that energy can be very, very toxic. And do not blame yourself. That's just how the dynamic goes. It's actually built in your template to chase your divine masculine during a separation stage. It's just like your old core woundings come up, and of course you're trying to hold on to something that's normal to you. Even if it's chaotic or even if it is toxic, you're still trying to hold on to it. That is a-okay. I get that. But as you start to ascend in this journey, You'll cut the physical contact off first. You'll realize I'm chasing this person for what? You'll still look at it as a 3D standpoint, as though, okay, he's not answering the phone. He's not coming around. He must don't want me. I'm going to show him something. And then once you start to dig deeper in your healing, you'll realize this person is literally me. This person is literally showing me how I'm showing up for myself. When you run from your emotions, those emotions that you feel deep in your chest when someone leaves, someone abandons you, when things don't go right in your life, when your nervous system gets dysregulated and feel like you're on a wave, and you numb it with scrolling on social media, you numb it with a man, you numb it with going out, you numb it with alcohol, anything that you numb that's rejecting your pain, that's rejecting those feelings inside of you. And the person that you're dating or your counterpart is going to mirror that by rejecting you also. So what you do is, the more that you extend, you'll start to realize that you have to feel this pain. On this journey, failing is the #1 way to end a union. You have to feel your way through the pain, feel your way through the old core patterns and the trauma. You can't erase it, so to say. You can't go around it. You have to go through it. You have to feel it. Every single feeling that comes up in your body, in your chest, every single tingle, every single, heartache, literally, you will start to ache physically when your partner leaves. The thoughts in your mind, don't pay attention to those thoughts in your mind, or try not to pay attention to the thoughts in your mind. The mental does not count. You attract more from the heart than the mind. You attract more, way more, 90% more from the feelings in your heart than the thoughts in your mind. So you cannot think a person back into your life. That's going to actually repel them. You can't think through a situation that you can't control. That is the universe's job. That is God's job. That is divine intervention. You cannot think your way out of this situation. You have to feel your way through it. It's like being in a tunnel with a blindfold on. So how can you think of your next move when you don't even know what's ahead of you? You have to feel it, physically feel it. Feel your way through this journey. You feel the pain. You feel the disappointment. You feel the hurt. You feel the void. You feel that void. Because more likely when you met your counterpart, you was already hurting from something previously before that. It could have been a relationship. It could have been a loss of a parent. It could have been any type of lifestyle change that was big enough to cause a hole in your heart. And when you met this person, you fill that hole in with this person. And when that person left, they left you with a hole. They left you back with that hole. They actually left you with your mess. They left you with your baggage, so to say. So once you realize that you have to take accountability for attracting that type of energy in your life because of your core wounding that you never wanted to face, then you can change it. If that makes sense to you. You'll understand how to change it the more that you ascend. And the more that you start to feel your way through, the more you'll start to raise up on a level of consciousness. Once you raise up to on a level of consciousness, you'll start to merge the inner feminine and inner masculine together. And you won't even look for your counterpart no more. You won't even seek validation on the outside. You'll be so whole and complete and magnetic that you start attracting the things in your life that you never thought you could have got pre-separation. You'll actually start to thank God that he placed you on this journey. You'll actually start to be glad that you were on this journey. You'll actually be able to start to help other people that's on this journey to get through it. You'll actually be a guide. You'll actually be some type of healer or some type of teacher that you can help other divine feminists get through this journey and allow them a safe space to heal and talk about the journey, because it is not a lot of people in your day-to-day life that's going through a healing journey, spiritual journey, twin flame journey, whatever you want to call it. All these things are pointing you to union with yourself, your inner union, your heart center. All these type of journeys, regardless of what you label it, is bringing you back to your center. And there's not a lot of resources other than the internet that you can go to talk to people about this. But in your everyday, day-to-day circle, even when you're at work or when you're around your friends, they're not going to understand what's going on. So we need more people out there that understands the spiritual makeup of a twin flame journey that can help the collective learn about these things. So if you are on this journey, keep going, keep feeling, and keep healing. I wish you a lot of love and light.